Hello again, Gills fans, and welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV. I do apologise, I am flying solo again this morning, so you'll have to put up with my dulcet tones for the next few minutes. But it's a positive one, perhaps a surprising positive one after Saturday. Myself and Boz did the match preview end of last week and both predicted defeats. I think Boz said 2-1 to the Posh and I said 2-0. I couldn't see us scoring up there. But fair play to Steve Lovell, fair play to Mark Patterson, who's been involved, fair play to Glenn Johnson again, who was retained after Peter Taylor left, and Neil Withington last week, and fair play to the players. That's a massive result going up there to Peterborough. I know they were on a bit of a mini slump, so to speak, but they're still a team that's in and around the playoffs, and I think they've only fallen out of the top six because we've beaten them. So a massive hats off to all of those involved at the weekend. Unfortunately, work dictates to me which games I go to. I have to do split shifts for home games, and I don't do many of the away ones. But it's great news for all those that have travelled up to London Road, because it's not been great. It's been pretty slim pickings away from home this season, and they've been rewarded, which is great to see. We've obviously got a couple of newspapers like we normally do. Sunday's Football League paper, there's the headline. Gills fan Lovell is desperate for job. I had a couple of people tweet me after the game on Saturday and yesterday and said, because he's won, does he deserve the job now, and does he deserve the gig on a full-time basis? My stance on it at the moment is it's one game, it's 190 minutes, it's not 3 or 4 games. But if there's nobody lined up with it like imminently, then obviously it's a great first game for Stevie Lovell, and it does his chances of getting the job on a more long-term basis or full-time basis or whatever. There's no harm at all. Tomorrow night we host Wigan. Obviously we'll have a look at that in a little while. That's going to be a massive test, even harder than Saturday, you'd probably think. I think they went top at the weekend, and then Saturday at home to Northampton. Start of the season, we all sort of joked and said it could be AD versus Justin, but they've both gone, so it's a completely different scenario now. We leapfrogged them at the weekend, and obviously after Jimmy Floyd, Hasselbank's initial sort of bounce effect, they started really well under the Dutchman. They've hit a wall, and I think they lost again at the weekend, so they're really struggling. But if Steve Lovell could pick up, I don't know, 4 points from the next 2 games, that would be 7 from 9, then you'd have to seriously think about looking at him as a longer term option. All we want as Gills fans is results, so I don't think it matters who's in charge. Obviously, we know all the names that have been bandied about over the last couple of weeks. There is another new favourite now, it's Graham Westley. For me, it's a no-no. I wouldn't want Graham Westley coming in. I know statistically, I know Simon, again, I mentioned this Friday, Simon Head, who's really good on Twitter and runs Gills 365. He did a piece, and statistically, Graham Westley's right up there. But for me, it's not the right option going forward. Graham Westley has a lot of Football League experience, and his win percentage is by no means disastrous, but you have to look at when these wins were, and it's over a long time going backwards. So, and obviously the game moves on and the game changes, and for me it wouldn't be one I'd think that we should be looking at. That's just my own personal opinion. But yeah, so it's great to see. That was the Football League paper. You always get a good write-up in there regardless of win, lose or draw. And then the other one we do is today's edition of the Medway Messenger. Lovell, I want Gills' job. He cannot reiterate it enough. Steve Lovell is keen to land the Gillingham management job full time. The Gills coach was put in charge on Thursday following Peter Taylor's decision to stand down as director of football, ending his own spell as interim boss. Lovell led the Gills to a spirited 1-0 win at Peterborough on Saturday. I thought we were very good. Like I say, I didn't go, but from what I've read on social media and all the reports was that we were decent, and I was a little bit disappointed with the Channel 5 highlights because again it looked like we pinched our goal and then was getting battered for the 90 minutes, but they didn't show the Josh Parker chance, they didn't show the Elliot List chance. We could have been 2 or 3-0 up at half time, and I don't think it would have done us a disservice, in all truth, according to all the reports I read and all the feedback that I got on Facebook, Twitter, etc. So a little bit disappointing, Channel 5. Give us some credit, you know what I mean? You give other teams credit, but it always seems to be the so-called bigger teams that you like to focus on, and us little Gillingham, we don't get the credit we deserve perhaps. And when you're in a season like we are and you've been struggling, you want to get that credit when it comes around, if it's not coming around as regular as you'd hope. So one little gripe with them, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. A win's a win, and we know how good we were. So obviously we remain in the bottom 4, but we could have been starting to get a cut adrift if we'd been beat. So Tuesday night's massive. I think it's a bit of a free swing in terms of who we play again. Especially now with the fact that we've gone to Posh and won at the weekend. I think if we'd got beat there, then there would have been loads of pressure on tomorrow night. But now it's almost a free swing. Like I say, if we could pinch something, then happy days. I'd be more than happy with a draw Tuesday and a win on Saturday. That'd give us something to work with in terms of that'd be a little run being put together. And if you go back to Steve Lovell again, looking for cases for Adrian Pennant won 1 in 10 or whatever it was, 1 in 9 all season and lost his job. Peter Taylor didn't win in the league in his 3 games in charge. Steve Lovell's done it at the first attempt. So if you're looking for a case for Steve Lovell, then obviously that's all you need to know. But it is only 190 minutes, and seasons aren't defined over 90 minutes. They're defined over a much longer period. Marathon, not a sprint and all that. But he's, like I say, he started really well, and it's great to see. Back to him, he says, Lovell doesn't know how long he's got in charge, but it's a quick turnaround for the Gills as they host league leaders Wigan tomorrow. They don't come harder than that, he said. They, meaning the Gills players, are going to be in a better mood going into that game on Tuesday than they would have been had we not won Saturday, so credit to them. Yeah, cannot wait. Should be a good game, regardless of how we're playing. I love going to Priestfield under the lights, so looking forward to tomorrow night. We'll be doing a match day live, obviously. Myself, Boz, and hopefully Stocky if he's going. There's a little bit on team news for tomorrow night. Tom Eaves returns, but apart from that, I don't think we're going to have any more back. It says that Alex Lacey, Luke O'Neill and Ben Nugent are all going to still be unavailable, but hopefully 1 or 2 might be available for the weekend when Northampton come to town. Steve Lovell goes on to talk about Connor Wilkinson, said that I've had a little word with Connor. He has been great, but we haven't got enough out of him. He admits that, and you could see when he came on, he had a right good go. Hopefully that's the kick up the backside because he has the qualities, but he needs to work hard. On Saturday he did, and I'm pleased for him. He's taken a lot of stick. Obviously a goal would change that. Let's hope it comes sooner rather than later. But in terms of a team selection for tomorrow night, would you be changing it too much? I'd be inclined not to after Saturday's display. I think it'd be harsh on anyone if they had to drop out of the 11. If we go inside, great picture of the fans celebrating, some good match shots. Gills come to life under Lovell. Gills chairman Paul Scally has been scouring far and wide for a new manager, but has always had a willing candidate right under his nose. Steve Lovell has wanted to land the #1 job at Gills ever since getting into football coaching. He was part of the gang of 4 that helped inject some life into the Gills following Peter Taylor's last exit 3 years ago. The positive way they set up the team back then laid the platform for Justin Edinburgh's short-lived success. He was part of that team, I think, when Peter Taylor left New Year 2014 going into 2015. I know Peter and Steve, Darren Hare, Mark Patterson and Andy Hessenthaler were part of the team that steadied the ship, so to speak. I know we lost the first game, I think was at Crewe, and Port Vale might have been another one in there, but then I think we went on an unbeaten run of 3 or 4 games that they were in charge of. So is he worth a shot? Potentially. I think if nothing happens in terms of a full-time appointment in the next few days, then obviously Tuesday and Saturday could play a big part in terms of whether Steve Lovell does get it longer term. Excuse me. Lovell has again used his positive energy and respect among the players to lift the mood of the Gills team after another torrid week. Last weekend the chairman was getting it in the neck from fans and the players weren't able to hide from criticism either. A meek home performance against Portsmouth didn't even produce a shot on target. 7 days is a long time in football, you know that. 90 minutes is a long time in football. You're only as good as your last performance. Pompey's gone, Peterborough's the latest one, so we need to look at that and make sure that we replicate it and continue to do it on a more consistent basis. Clearly we don't want that to be the blip or the one-off, because then we're back to square one, but it's a great start. What I liked about the team line-up Saturday was there was pace in there. Elliot List, Sean Clare, Bradley Garmston back in, which was great to see. We have to be careful with Bradley, but it's great to have him back. Josh Parker provides an outlet, provides pace, stretches teams. Lee Martin looked to be somewhere near his best, which is great, and we've probably not seen that at all because of that injury that he suffered at the start of last season. So another one. Hopefully, he can use that as a platform to kick on and go on and put these types of displays in on a more regular basis, because it'd be great to have him, Scott Wagstaff, back on the bench, got on. So fingers crossed we can keep all them fit. We've got the nucleus of an half-decent side that will be able to compete. It's not me saying, oh, we get them all fit and we're going to start soaring up the league. No, we don't score enough goals for that. Defensively, we're a lot better than last season. There's still the odd mistake that we make which costs us, but we need to make sure that Saturday was the start of sort of building some momentum rather than just another one-off. And under the likes of Peter Taylor, unfortunately, an 80 pennant, we never looked like we was going to go on a run of 3 or 4, 5, 6 games of unbeaten. So fingers crossed we can get that moving now. I always like to read the last paragraph or two from Luke. He tends to sum it up quite well. Lovell was beaming at the final whistle, and so he should be. Whatever Mr. Scally decides to do, the Gills coach has again proved his management credentials. On Saturday's showing, he certainly appears to have the players on side, and that's half the battle. Winning the fans round won't be hard either if the performances continue in the same vein. The ball, however, remains in Mr. Scally's court. We'll have to talk about the chairman quickly. I think it was Don Ballard spoke about it and had a discussion with someone on Saturday. Apparently Paul Scally came over to the Gills fans at the end and was told in no uncertain terms to politely disappear, I'll say on here. Paul Scally's got to remember that it's similar to managers. They want to come over and celebrate and fist bump and tap the badge if we're winning football matches. But they tend to have this tendency to just disappear down the tunnel pretty sharpish if results aren't going our way. And it's the same with Paul Scally. Paul, I think if you're going to come out and celebrate the win, then you've got to come over and acknowledge the fans who've travelled regardless of the result. You can't pick and choose. That's not fair on them. They spend a lot of hard-earned money travelling up and down the country. I'd love to do it more often, but work dictates that I can't. But obviously they're doing it at the moment, and we've seen 2 away goals. So I can see the Gills fans' point of view that they weren't too enamoured with the fact that the chairman come over and started trying to get involved and be everyone's buddy, so to speak, because he doesn't do it when we get... Did he do it when we got battered at Rochdale? Did he do it when we got battered at Oxford? No. So if you're going to do it, be consistent like anything. I think that's all the Gills fans that were at London Road at the weekend are asking. If you're going to do it once, you've got to do it all the time. You can't just pick and choose when it suits you. But it's just a minor gripe or whatever it is in what's been a decent weekend. Lovell gets a quick response. Players were magnificent. Headline says it all, not going to go into too much there. And back to basics. The enjoyment has returned to Gillingham, said Saturday's match winner Lee Martin. Steve Lovell took over as caretaker boss on Thursday and was quick to implement his own ideas. He said before the game that he was going to put his own stamp on it. He's come out and said if players don't want to work hard, don't want to play for the shirt, they can come and see him. They'll sort out getting their contract sorted out and they can go and do something somewhere else because they're not interested in that, which is great. Martin certainly enjoyed the change of approach. He said, ever since Loves has come in, training has been high intensity, the enjoyment has been there. Loves has been a top man, always been a bit on the outside, but now he's his opportunity, and I think he has been outstanding. He has come in with a fresh approach to go out and enjoy ourselves. Sometimes that works, going back to basics. Martin scored the winner midway through the first half, and he said the boys were brilliant, everyone worked their socks off. We could have been 2 or 3 up at half time. We made it a little more difficult second half, rode the storm, but that togetherness that we've shown. With what has gone on off the field, the boys have been outstanding. Yeah, and obviously we all saw on the highlights that Lee Martin ran to this female in the crowd. He ran a good 60, 70 yards to celebrate with her. It turns out it was his mum, which is great to see. Obviously she was stood with the Gills fans, so it was excellent that the boys went over to celebrate with the Gills fans at the other end of the pitch. Another little bit about Peter Taylor leaving, not going to go too much into that. Player ratings, Thomas Holy 8, Sean Clare 7, Max Amark, Gabriel Zaquani 8, Bradley Garmston 7, Mark Byrne 8, Billy Bingham 7, Jake Hessenthaler 8, Lee Martin 8, Elliot List and Josh Parker 7. Played in a diamond, so we know that worked. The last time that Steve Lovell was involved in the management setup that I've already alluded to, the Gang of 4, about 3 years ago now. So it looks like we might be trying to play that again. He spoke of getting the balance right. We know we can be strong defensively, but obviously we've got to get it and give the right balance in terms of giving ourselves a chance in an offensive sense. And that seemed to work at the weekend. We created plenty of chances. Says here we had shots 4 on target and 8 off, that's 12. So compared to last week when we didn't have a shot on target against Portsmouth, it's a massive improvement quite quickly as well. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen all the time, but it's a great start, as I keep saying. So yeah, maybe we're going to see the Diamond moving forward again. Obviously, you'd hope that Stevie Lovell's got a plan B if need be. But in terms of personnel at the moment, we're quite light at the back, so it probably means that we can only play 4 at the back. First round draw tonight, FA Cup, something to look forward to. I do believe Brackley won at the weekend. I think they beat Billericay, I'm not sure. So fingers crossed we don't get them, because we know what happens when we play Brackley Town. A couple of people on Facebook have asked for a local derby. Some people said maybe not, because that might be on the telly, and we know what happens when we play on the telly. But I believe we are ball number 21 or 22 tonight, so that'll be a number to look out for. It'd be great to see who we get, and hopefully a cup run would be a bonus. That's all it will be at the moment. It's not the be all and end all in terms of our season. That's picking up league points and picking up league wins as quickly as possible. Last little bit from me before I do the results roundup and let you all get on with your day. Door open for striker Liam Nash being spoken about, who obviously I don't think he wasn't even on the bench at the weekend. Peter Taylor mentioned something after Blackburn, said that he needs to be better than those that are in the team. I don't think Peter Taylor was by in any means saying that Liam Nash isn't good enough to potentially be successful at this football club. But again, I'll keep reiterating, we have to remember where he's come from, and he's still a kid. Steve Lovell left Nash out of the squad for the trip to Peterborough on Saturday, but it's certainly not a closed door for the 21-year-old who had been scoring regularly in non-league before moving to the Gills in the summer. Lovell said, "I had a word with Liam and told him I need a bit more out of him. He has come from semi-pro, he is a good lad, I like him a lot," and put his hands up and said, "Yes, you're right. I said to him, come in Monday and show what we can do. He has to knuckle down and really have a go. I want him around the first team because he's a talent and gets goals." Both Nash and wide man Jesse Starkey missed the cut at the weekend. That was potentially a little bit surprising after his performance in the week. Again, context, Phoenix Sports, Peterborough, 2 completely different entities. But Jesse Starkey, I said, had played himself into contention. Steve Lovell decided maybe not. Fair enough, Steve Lovell's in charge and we won the game, so no problem with that. The sooner they get up and running, that's another couple of bodies. Jesse did well in the week against Phoenix Sports in the Kent Senior Cup, but was unfortunate to miss out. So, but as I said, Steve Lovell picked the team, he picked the 18, and it worked brilliantly. So fair play, Steve, and I hope it continues, and long may we keep winning football matches. Just going to go back now quickly to the Football League paper before I finish up. Results roundup in League One. Bristol Rovers at home to Oxford, alphabetical order as normal. Inconsistent Bristol Rovers. Oxford mini slump over, they won 1-0. Oxford back in the top 6 with that win. They've been first class under Pep Clotet so far this season. They battered us a few weeks ago. Just come out of a little mini slump, and Bristol Rovers very inconsistent. Again, they're another side that's not drawn a game yet. At home, 1-4 and lost 3. Away, 1-2, lost 4. Bury v Bradford, absolutely huge shock for me. 3-1 to Bury, didn't see that coming at all. That got Bury out the bottom 4. Bradford, who hadn't conceded, they'd only conceded 10 goals until Saturday, and then they in 12 games, and they conceded 3 in 90 minutes. So a massive result for Bury, fair play to them. Charlton 1, Doncaster 0, probably went with form. Charlton still embedded in the top 6. Doncaster slipped back down to 18th. On the road, they're struggling 1-2, but they've lost 5. So that's where their problem lies. Fleetwood 2, Rochdale 2. Fleetwood a bit in and out at the moment. Just can't seem to get any consistency together, which is surprising. For Rochdale, you'd say that's probably a better point. Fleetwood stay 9th, Rochdale 20th, 2 places above us. Northampton, they're really, really struggling. Jimmy Floyd come in, I think, won the first 2, but they've been horrendous since then, and they lost to a AFC Wimbledon team who hadn't been any better and can't score goals. But Harry Forrester scored on his first start, lifts them to 21st, but still in the relegation zone. Oldham Blackburn. Is it Richie Wellens there, who has had every single name from World Football linked to the job at the moment at Oldham, and he just keeps churning out results. I think I saw on the Football League show yesterday that he's the first Oldham manager to win his first 4 league games ever. So that's an excellent start, and I think it was Michael Gray on there turned around and said, why would you be looking anywhere else at the moment? Blackburn again, just flattered to deceive slightly. They dropped back down to 10th, but Oldham up to 17th. Bearing in mind that's 4 wins on the bounce, that's 12 of their 13 points. So that's how good a job Richie Wellens is doing, despite having the likes of Clarence Seedorf and Paul Scholes linked to the job in the last couple of weeks. Next up, Peterborough 0, Gills 1, done all that, superb result for us. Plymouth 1, Shrewsbury 1, decent result for Plymouth, you'd say. They're bottom of the league. Shrewsbury were top at kick-off, so it's probably a better result for the home side. Really good goal in that game from Brian Carey. Left-footed, top corner, superb technique. Portsmouth, first back-to-back wins this season, I believe, in the league. Beat MK Dons. That's a good result at Fratton Park for Pompey, who are just starting to get themselves in contention in terms of the playoffs. They're up to 8th and a point outside the top 6 now. MK Dons had been on a decent little run, but that's come to a halt and they dropped to 14th. Rotherham, don't do draws, I say it every week. Home form is superb. 1-6, only lost 1 away. 1-2 drawn, 1-2 lost 4. Still haven't drawn a game. But their home form's outrageous. They've scored 21 times in 6 home games this season. They've only conceded 6. Kiefer Moore on loan from Ipswich, I believe. Another goal for him against what has generally been a decent enough Scunthorpe side this season. But they just dropped off in the last couple of weeks. And they're down in 12th now, but still only 2 points off the playoffs. So it's getting quite congested. Walsall 1, Blackpool 1. Both sort of halt little slumps. Oztumer again with an absolutely superb goal, free kick, I believe, if I remember rightly, watching the highlights. The Turkish Messi, they like to call him up at the Bescott Stadium, and he's doing really well. It could be key to where they finish this season if they can keep him fit. But Blackpool put together, I think, after winning only 1 point from the last 9, so that's a decent point for them, and they're still 11th, only 2 points outside the top 6. And Wigan Southend went with form. I think Southend had a player sent off after about 20 minutes in that game, Jermaine McGlashan, for a poor challenge over the top of the ball, 2-footed out of control according to the ref. But Wigan were comfortable, 3-0 winners. They're top. Lovely stuff. They're coming to the Priestfield tomorrow. Right, performances of the week. I'm going to be biased. I'm going to put Gills in. It's a cracking result. Steve Lovell's first game in charge. That's one team performance of the week. Oldham, excellent result at home to Blackburn in the derby. Richie Wellens doing a great job in caretaker charge at the moment. And last one, I'm going to do Bury. Fair play to them. Jermaine Beckford's just starting to get himself into a bit of form as well, and that could be a massive result for them, could get them moving. They beat Bradford 3-1. In terms of individuals, there's a few again. Nick Powell, another goal, absolutely flying. I think he scored more this season than he had in his last 3 seasons put together. Devante Cole, another goal for him in the draw. He's really showing some consistency this season, which is great, trying to step out of his very famous dad's shadow. And last one, I'm going to go Kiefer Moore again. It's double figures for the season. Now he's the top scorer in the division. So that's the performances of the week. We will be at the Priestfield tomorrow for Match Day Live. Myself and Boz, like I say, hopefully Stocky will be in attendance as well. In terms of a team, I can't see us changing it too much. I don't see why we'd want to. In terms of a prediction, I'm going to be positive. I'm going to try and say that we're going to get on a little run. I am going to go for a score draw, which I don't think will be a bad result for us. I'm going to say Gillingham 1, Wigan 1. Anyway, thanks for watching as always. Please keep doing the usual, liking, subscribing, retweeting, shout outs, appreciate it all, Facebook, Twitter, the lot. And until next time, up the Gills.